from there.
Sounds good.
All right. So hello, everybody. This is Joe Russo. I'm the CEO of the Palm Beach Tech Association. Welcome to our, I think it's our 6th community coffee that we're doing today. This is a casual middle of the day experience where usually I have a cup of coffee. Did not have the time to get that cup of coffee today, so I am decaffeinated. But I see a few other people on the call have their cup of Joe, but I am just Joe today. So we're going strong with Palm Beach Tech. If you haven't been keeping track of us, we've been doing these community coffees as part of a new event, and we can help bring people together and talk about some of the things we don't normally have the chance to talk about in a lot of the events that we do. So big kudos to our team, Nikki and Monica, for bringing us all together and trying to come up with some new content to really make the most of this time that we're in. But it also gives us a chance to explore some unique topics, again, that we haven't really ever really talked about as a tech community before. Today, we're really lucky that we're going to be talking to some industry leaders that intersect both technology and health and well-being. And this is an interesting concept for today because I don't know if anybody else has realized this, but we're a few weeks into this now, and I haven't been working out as much. I've been eating a lot more healthy, ironically enough. Been going to farms and picking things out, but oftentimes I don't think we realize in the monotony of everything that's going on exactly who we are and what we're doing. So I'm going to briefly, just by name, introduce our guests for today. And then I would love for them to share who they are and what they do. And then we can dive into some conversation here. Again, the topic today is health, well-being in a remote world. And we have 3 awesome guests. Don Jarvis, who is a nutritionist from Garden of Life, one of a Palm Beach Tech member company located in Palm Beach Gardens. Ellie from UBQFIT, excuse me for probably messing that up, and then Sandi from Brave Health. So I would love for, in order, if you guys would love to introduce yourself and talk a little bit about what you do and what your companies do, and then we can dive into some conversation.
Hi there, this is Dawn. Thank you very much for the invitation. And I must say how much we appreciate all our tech support right now. If it wasn't for Christy, we wouldn't have 300 employees working remotely. So thank you for all that you do. I'm proud to say that I've been the nutritionist at Garden of Life for 17 years. We are a local company where we were founded here in Palm Beach Gardens. I'm a clinical dietitian by training. I have a background in sports nutrition, but my passion is really for natural health.
Okay, great. Nice to meet you. This is Ellie. I'm a Wall Street professional turned tech startup investor turned CEO and founder of a tech startup. We have Uberized the experience of personal training virtually. And so that's what UBQFIT does, makes that connection possible and makes it real time if that's what people want. We integrate data, we integrate social, community, and basically create an experience for people to engage in their fitness and have their community, if they so choose to be public and social, participate in that with them.
Hi, lovely to meet you, Dawn and Ellie. Really fun to be in a space where we're talking about wellness from so many different angles. I'm Sandi Kaplan, Dawn like you. I am a registered dietitian by training, but I head up business operations for Brave Health, which I have Paul Carey here with me on the call as well. He heads up community outreach for Brave Health. And Paul, if you'd like to take a minute to talk about what we do, that would be wonderful.
Of course. Thank you so much, Sandi. Just a little bit about Brave. We are a telehealth-enabled program. We offer therapy, psychiatry, and counseling services to those suffering from mental health and addiction diagnoses. So in addition, we do offer medication management, medicated assisted treatment, all virtually. And we're able to treat ages 13 and over and accept most insurance programs, including Medicaid and Medicare as well. So, and the Brave process is simple. A client, physician, or provider can call, email, or text us. From there, our access team will intercept and the intake will begin. This will actually confirm the client is a good fit for Brave. And if not, of course, we have a list of provider resources we can recommend to assist. So once accepted, we book their first consultation based on a time that's convenient for them, of course. They receive a text reminder with link, and from there, they'll enter a Zoom-like portal to complete their session. And just a simple reminder, we are CARF and DCF accredited, and of course, follow all HIPAA guidelines. And really what I wanted to instill in the purpose of today is to just offer, a sense of ease and hope that with the current climate, we can put our health and wellness at the forefront. And now we can do this with the little changes in our day-to-day lives. This is why I think it's incredible that we have Garden of Life and UBQFIT as part of this conversation. It's kind of like the perfect trinity of how to cope with anxiety and the stresses of, the remote world we live in today. Typically, you have nutrition plus exercise. It typically it gives you a good mental headspace, but sometimes, people need that direction or, sense of guidance to know their self-worth. So with that being said, I hope with all of our knowledge and our expertise, we can, help many with this conversation today. And again, Brave appreciates the opportunity and we just hope to provide care at the end of the day. So thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys again for taking part today. This is a conversation streamed live on Facebook as well. So we're going to be taking some conversations, not only from those on the Zoom, but also from Facebook. With that, I would love to start with Dawn, if we could. And Dawn, I know your company, driving past it on 95 all the time, but you have... But you work with a company that focuses on nutrients and supplements with that, and you yourself are a nutritionist. Maybe could you go into maybe two things with us? I would love to learn about what you do as a professional, and then maybe kind of how your work gets transitioned to the products that you guys are working with.
Absolutely, and I did put together a very short presentation just to show you a few things that we do. So I joined the company back in 2003 when it was a very small company. We were like 10 employees, and I've been working on my master's in natural health and nutrition in a health food store. So I came to Garden of Life with a passion for natural health. And one of the things that really attracted me was the founder of the company was very much into organic and non-GMO. And back then it wasn't as popular as it is now. People weren't as well educated about it. So to me, that was really, really important. May I share my screen with you to show you a few things as we go, Joe? Would that be okay? Of course. I can do that. Just very briefly. So I know we're going to be talking about nutrition for stress, and our philosophy as a company is all about eating real food. So we always put food before supplements. And as a dietitian, I think that's really important. Our core message is to teach people to eat real food, whole food, and wherever possible, clean food, organic and non-GMO. And so we apply that to our product philosophy. So I'm involved in two things in the company. To answer your question, is I'm involved in helping to formulate products and source raw materials, but most importantly, my role is education, teaching people how to use our products appropriately. And I'm very proud to say that whenever we formulate products, ours are based on science. If we're going to use, say, a herbal ingredient, we want to have clinical support to say, you need to use this amount in this quantity to get this benefit. So we're about using double-blind clinical studies and evidence-based. Right now, obviously, we're all dealing with stress, and stress and inflammation go hand in hand. So just very briefly, I was going to share with you, if I may, in the next couple of minutes, some of the tools that we've been offering in terms of when we're stressed, there's a lot of inflammation in the body. So we're encouraging people to follow a eating protocol, which is low inflammatory foods. So it's eating a lot of produce, a lot of greens, a lot of fruits and vegetables, something akin to the Mediterranean diet, where we're getting our proteins from fatty fish, maybe a little eggs, and only having meat occasionally. Our sources of oils would be things like olive oil. So we're teaching a Mediterranean type diet. And then when it comes to strategies for managing stress, I'm sure all of you in IT are planners. And I always like to, when working with people, encourage them to plan their nutrition, because we're never a philosopher when we're hungry. We don't make good food choices when we're on the run and we're starving, we're hungry. So planning meals is important. It can be very simple. Monday is chicken, Tuesday is fish, and then there's 20 different ways to cook chicken. So create your menus, keep it simple, make your shopping list, and have a well-stocked pantry and fridge, because if you have the right foods available, you're then going to eat a much healthier diet. Again, you don't make good decisions when you're hungry. We encourage people to keep eating on a regular schedule, and that's really important for children and the elderly. So eating 3 times a day, having protein at every meal. I mean, we know protein, as we'll talk about exercise in a moment, protein is important for post-exercise and for supporting a muscle mass, but protein is good for a couple of reasons, because it's very important for immune health right now, and it's also important for keeping a balanced blood sugar. So we're encouraging people to have protein at every meal, and if you're not able to have eggs for breakfast and salmon at lunch and chicken at night, then there's wonderful organic protein shakes that we make. So I know a lot of people right now are finding some of our organic protein shakes very, very useful. They're great vehicles if you've got kids at home to put some of those organic fruits and vegetables. You know, we teach children to eat the rainbow. That's so they get all the vitamins and minerals and all those wonderful polyphenols. But shakes and smoothies are good vessels if you want to do it that way. Other things we're educating on right now, I spend a lot of time anyway educating on limiting sugars. You know, we know that inflammation is cornerstone to every chronic disease. So a lot of the formulas that we produce at Garden of Life are low sugar or zero sugar. You'll see, for example, right now our elderberry syrup, which is very popular. Although it's an elderberry syrup, it has no sugar in it. That's really, really important, because sugar promotes inflammation in the body. So it's important now, you know, we're at home and a lot of people are stressed, and what are they doing? They're soothing themselves with cookies and candies and those junk foods. So it's important to teach them that sugar is really not the best way to go, because it does promote inflammation. Similarly, we want to avoid eating lots of foods made with white flour. You know, they're highly processed. Let's stick with the whole grains. I always think it's great to make a snack box and have chopped up veggies, maybe have some dips like hummus or almond butter, or maybe an avocado dip for variety. Have something handy there, so when people are hungry, they've got something to go to. And then remembering to stay well hydrated. We know normally we carry around a water bottle when we're at home. Let's not forget to stay hydrated. It's very important for your immune system to be hydrated. And let's not soothe ourselves too much with alcohol. Let's keep the red wine to 1 glass a day. But it's still good to have some enjoyment and you know, to have fun with the family cooking. It's time to teach kids about nutrition. And of course, the other thing we're doing is making sure that everybody's washing their hands regularly. So I don't know if you want me to get into any of our supplements at this point, or if you wanted to me to come back to that in a moment.
Maybe if you could share your slide briefly. I know you wanted to share maybe your screen at one point you mentioned.
Are you not seeing my screen right now?
No, we're not.
Oh, okay. I'm looking at my screen. I thought we were sharing. Okay.
Yeah, if you do that green button to share screen there. I didn't know if that's something you were wanting to do, or you just didn't get to it yet.
I'm sorry, Joe. I was showing you. Yes, I was not. Can you see them now?
No, we can't.
Oh, okay.
Joe, I do have a question for Dawn, if you don't mind.
Please.
Oh, there you go. I see her sharing her screen. Oh, there you go. I can ask it after.
Thank you. So this was just our philosophy, the inflammation, the inflammatory diet, and the tips of stress. So Garden of Life was founded as a company that specialized in probiotics. We've been making probiotics for 20 years now, so people think of us as a digestive health company. And really, a lot of the education we do is around digestive health. We work very closely with Dr. David Perlmutter, who's an expert on the human microbiome. And what do I mean by that? That's all the bacteria that dwell in the digestive system. We've all got about 3 pounds of bacteria in our digestive system. Hopefully most of it is friendly, but that provides a very important role. Those probiotics do a lot of different things for us. And right now, this is maybe where technology intersects with nutrition and science, because I was telling Christy, I came back from a conference recently, and it was all the researchers from the big institutes, Harvard, UCLA, all the top researchers were getting together, because what they've been doing is studying the microbiome and mapping out our microbiome, and it's very, very fascinating. They're publishing something like 5,000 studies a year right now on the human microbiome, and they're looking at the profile of everybody's gut bacteria, because there's literally hundreds and hundreds of different probiotics within the gut. And they're looking at that information, and then they're looking at other information, their blood work, their health history, their diet, their genetics. And whereas we thought, 20, 30 years ago, if you went to medical school, your genes determined what you were going to die of, if you will. Nowadays, they're plugging all this information about the microbiome and all your other health information into technology, and through AI, they're determining life expectancy and things like that. So there's a lot going on in that area, which I find very fascinating. But coming back to the actual microbiome, these probiotics do a lot of good things. We have to remember that 70% of our immune system is in the gut. So probiotics make substances which help to produce and support the immune system. And then also probiotics make substances called short-chain fatty acids, which nourish the gut lining. And why is that important? It's important so that we have a healthy gut lining, so we can absorb the vitamins and minerals and the things that keep us healthy. But at the same time, the gut lining is only 1 cell thick. And so we have to protect it and keep it healthy so it doesn't leak and let toxins and bacteria and viruses and other substances that are not supposed to get through the lining into the bloodstream. So really, digestive health is very key and core, not just for regularity. I mean, that's important to everybody, but it really is very core to our health for the reasons I've just outlined. So we have a lot of probiotics clinically studied, all backed by science and research. So that was one of the main things that we do at Garden of Life. Lately, we've been very busy, as you can imagine, with our immune products, and I won't go into each and every one of these. Would need about 3 hours, but as you can imagine, vitamin C is very popular. Vitamin D is probably the most important nutrient for immune health, zinc and elderberry. I'm very proud to say that we've just delivered pallets and pallets of all these products to our first responders locally. So thank you to our executive team for doing that. I think that was a very appropriate thing to do. But today, talking about stress, obviously 7 weeks into the situation we're in, a lot of people have stress. So very, very briefly, we have probiotics with clinically studied strains that are designed to help support stress and mood. We have some herbals that I can show you. I can highlight some vitamins. We do have CBD, which I'm proud to say is grown here in the US on an organic farm and is THC free. And we also have some wonderful organic essential oils. So you can go to our website to see all of those, but very briefly, this is the mood probiotic, which has 2 strains, which are clinically studied to support a healthy mood. So not only would this benefit digestive and immune health, but also support mental well-being. Our vitamins are not just any old vitamins. They're not synthetic. They're not made in a chemical plant somewhere else. We grow the ingredients. They're all food-based. They're certified organic and non-GMO. We're very proud to offer the first line of what we call dual certified, meaning certified organic and non-GMO. So we have vitamins for everybody in different forms, men, women. Obviously, our vitamin C and D that I mentioned. Right now, a lot of people are using the B complex. B vitamins are very important for stress. So that's something that might be useful to a lot of people. And then recently, in 2017, we started to develop a herbal line. And that's something also we're very proud of, because although we weren't traditionally a herbal company, as I say, we'd spent most of our expertise in developing probiotics. We felt that there was a need to bring out herbs that were organic and non-GMO. It's wonderful to have these botanicals, but if they're sprayed in chemicals, that's not a good thing. So many herbal companies have great herbs, but they're not organic. So it was important to us to offer organic herbs. This is Dr. Terry Willard, who is our clinical herbalist. And right now he's really advising us the best product we have in our portfolio for stress would be our ashwagandha. Again, I won't go into long details, but we have clinical studies on this. And this is really like marrying traditional wisdom. They've been using ashwagandha. You can see the berries and the root here. They've been using this in Ayurvedic medicine for over 2,000 years. But we have a clinically studied amount with 30 milligrams of withanolides shown for good stress management. Ashwagandha is what we call an adaptogen. So it's very good at bringing the body into balance. We also have the adrenal support. Obviously, when we're stressed, our cortisol rises, that stresses our adrenals. So this is a nice combination of ashwagandha with rhodiola and schisandra and some Siberian ginseng, that's the euthyrol, along with organic B vitamins. And the B vitamins, again, all come from botanicals, nothing synthetic here. When people are stressed, they often don't sleep well. So we have organic lemon balm and chamomile in tablet and spray form. All of our tablets are clean ingredients. We don't use the standard ingredients used in pharmaceuticals. Everything used to make our tablets is food-based. We have organic essential oils. I love to spritz my bed linen with lavender. You can put some drops in a humidifier or in a bath. And then we also recently combined some of our probiotics with CBD. So this is an example of one. It's basically a cap within a cap. You take your probiotic, and in this case, we've got immune probiotics. Rhamnosus GG is one of the most clinically studied probiotics for immune health. And then the outside is the essential oil with a CBD. So it's like a 2-for-1 probiotics and CBD. And of course, we have supplements for kids. Obviously, CBD is not for children. So we have a whole kids line because it's just as important to make sure children get appropriate supplementation. So I know I've covered a lot, but I was excited to share this with you.
Well, thank you very much for sharing it. I mean, and thank you for being a part of our community here in South Florida. I don't think a lot of people realize that such a large company that does this. I mean, your products and your work sells all over the globe now, right from our backyard. And shout out to Christy Poe, who's on the call here as well, who helps lead part of the tech team there at Garden of Life to make sure that you can buy these things online and make sure that the company keeps going. So this is all really neat stuff. I'm a customer as well. So thank you very much there. One thing, I do want to save some time at the end. So if anyone has any questions, we can get through them all. But I would love to bring Ellie into the conversation here and talking a little bit about fitness. I love that your background is, of course, in, and maybe Dawn, could you unshare your screen there for a minute? Perfect. But I love your background in, that like run and gun, like we gotta go kind of business background to now starting your own company and focusing on something you're really passionate in. So would love to kind of hear your thoughts on fitness and more about your company.
Yeah. Yeah, so totally non-traditional background as far as what I'm doing today is concerned, but everything plays a role. Everything happens for a reason, your background and the life and experiences you've had, and everything sort of feeds into what you do in the future and things that you end up being involved and engaged with. So yes, I was in real estate and consulting and investment banking and sales and trading, completely whole other world, but it made me very depressed because it just wasn't what I was passionate about. But growing up, I was always very athletic. I swam, I used to cycle, triathlons, yoga, sort of you name it, sort of I was involved with. So post sort of leaving that life of being completely institutional, to wanting to pursue a passion, fitness was always a passion. And UBQFIT is how you say the name, and it stands for ubiquitous fitness. Came from a personal need of wanting to stay in touch with my fitness, you know, being a mom now of 2 young kids, and historically having very demanding careers and traveling and not having the time for my fitness, which was always a passion. Being able to catch my fitness at my own, at a time and a place that's convenient for me, but at the same time, having it be interactive, having it be motivational, having it be very different from what you see today, widespread, right? You can go to YouTube, you can go to Facebook, Instagram, and catch all kinds of recorded or even live one-way content where it doesn't necessarily address you or customize to your needs. So UBQFIT came from that need of wanting to have that personal interaction with a professional fitness person, professional trainer, have a customized workout, have my data integrated into my workouts. If you wanted to get really technical as far as my performance is concerned and my progress is concerned, we could get to that. You know, and then we kind of layered on a component of social for those that crave that social interaction in their fitness. So, you know, the way I just gave you an example, I'm a mom, I get home at 7 p.m., put kids to bed, and then I really want to catch a workout. I haven't calendared anything, I haven't booked anything. My trainer that I know that I worked out with maybe is not available. I can literally go on the app and find someone who's online. Maybe I should share my screen quickly and just kind of show you guys this. Share screen, this, that. So, you know, I come to the app. I can literally go to the book. I can watch content live or not live. So this is always free. Anyone can come, just as in YouTube content, that sort of thing. So trainers put out content that you can watch and work out to for free. If there's a live session, you can have a live session. It will come on top and you can kind of interact with it. You can send in a chat question, that sort of a thing. Otherwise, you can go to the book session, book page, and, you know, just see who's online. And maybe I want to work out with Wisebody, or maybe Brianna is a trainer I want to work out with. Maybe I know them, maybe I don't know them, but I can just easily go to their profile and either book right now, like this second. I can literally press this button and I get to pick a category I want to work out with. And then I can choose whether I want a private session, a totally private session, or an open social session. The social session will open up the session to everyone on the platform to watch, engage, cheer on, and maybe even donate some dollars to you or the trainer, depending on what your position is in life. Like maybe you're an influencer, or maybe you're a college person, a college student, you want to earn some money, and you can kind of motivate your contingency of like watchers and fans to donate to you. So that's sort of like when I say we Uberized personal training and fitness, that's what I mean by that. And that I literally can press a button, the trainers that are online will get a request, or I can choose the trainer who's online, the specific one that I like to work out with. Otherwise, all the ones that are online will get a request on whoever picks it up. You're in a session, you're working out. Now this person could be in another country. Pretty quickly, we're opening up to Asia and Europe. Right now, we're just US focused. Or it can be someone in Boca Raton, someone in New York, whatever. I mean, we have trainers all over the country at this point. And there's different categories, right? I mean, we have like Olympic medalists that are teaching gymnastic related workouts. We have boxing, we have professional MMA fighters that are teaching things that is a fit for that sort of a workout, jiu-jitsu, and this will just grow as we scale and we have more demand and supply for different categories. We have no limitation as to what the categories should be. There's a lot more that the platform offers, but kind of that's in a nutshell. You know, there's group sessions that people can do. We've really tried to make it available for everyone, for any budget and any kind of time and availability. for trainers, they can be at home, it's 8 p.m., they're watching TV, and all of a sudden they were like, well, maybe I should go on UBQFIT to see if I can pick up some sessions and make some money. So trainers have extremely fragmented schedule. They are traveling from one meeting to another. The ones that are working at a gym, they're paying anywhere from 40%, sometimes up to 70%, depending on the gym, of the revenue they earn to the gym. It's a very difficult career to stay with, and there is a high turnover as a result because of the high commission that they pay to the facilities. And otherwise, they're just kind of floating around and they're losing a lot of time. Have a session at 10 and then another at 12. What do they do for those 2 hours, right? So now they can get on UBQFIT and make those 2 hours productive and make some money. So that was kind of the idea behind it. It's for those that are familiar with Twitch, the big gaming platform, we have integrated concept of Twitch as in donation, concept of Uber as in real-time booking, and concepts from Instagram to pull this whole thing together. And we're really early still. We've been in the marketplace for a few months, but it's been closed, and only about a month and a half is when we opened it up and started doing social media marketing and influencer marketing, and it's been huge momentum. And really what we have today is the base case. We're building so much more tech on an ongoing basis. Gamification is really the next phase of bringing another layer of excitement and engagement into the sessions, of allowing people to kind of interact and participate in the performance of those that are training, as long as they opt in to that activity. Yeah, so that's a nutshell. But I just do want to say that for those that want to stay private, you can stay as private as possible. You can even hide your identity and your profile and just be completely private. But for those that want to be social, that want to integrate their community and social friends and family and and followers, we've made that option available as well.
Awesome.
So,
And I just downloaded the app too, just to get a look at it. So I'm looking forward to doing that later.
Yeah, awesome. And the idea was to, I think maybe Nikki will talk about it later, or someone will talk about it later. We're doing a session on Friday with one of our trainers, and we're going to broadcast that with you guys. And whoever attends the session will get a code to get their first session for free with one of our top trainers. So I'm excited to bring that out to the community, to the local community, and have you guys learn more about us, and also offer up this kind of value proposition during these times. Everyone's cooped up. I get on there and work out with a trainer every night because I can and because I need it, right? I can't get out of the house. My kids are sleeping. I don't have a babysitter as I used to in the past. So everyone's cooped up. So this is a really great escape.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's kind of ironic. If you can't see, I'm actually on my balcony right now because it's a nice, beautiful day out. There's somebody who lives right behind me who is a complete fitness nut. I'm going to recommend this to, but he has been working out in his house so much that he almost fell towards his balcony, and it probably would not have been a good situation had he not been, a little farther inside. But we're all trying to figure out these new workouts, and he tried one that didn't necessarily work. So that is the importance of having a personal trainer and having guide his fitness for sure. But you have other cautions, I guess, you didn't even think about when when we all started working from home and working out from home. So
yeah, it's a new world we're stepping into for sure. But this is going to transform the world as we know it. I mean, a lot of us are gonna incorporate this sort of like work and live online component into our lives. It just makes sense. The technology is available, and this is kind of where we're headed. So.
Yeah, and I did want to mention really quick, Ellie, I don't know if you can see her on the screen. Monica, if you want to wave, because she's actually the one who's going to be the guinea pig on Friday for us. So I'm excited that she's going to be able to work out with Carly Ann.
She'll get a workout. Carly Ann trained two Olympic medalists. So
I watched the one on your platform. I watched that one. with, I think, John, right?
Yeah, John was one of them,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
That was awesome.
Well,
Sure.
hey,
Tell them to take it easy. You know, it's my first time with UBQFIT, and I'm gonna
She
be on
will
camera.
customize it for you, so it will be to your level and whatever, however you want it.
Perfect.
That's the great thing about these things. It's like it's live, right? When you watch a YouTube video, it's just you get what you get. But with this, it's live, and they're correcting you, they're watching you, they're really engaged with your performance.
Well, I think Monica will be okay. She went to college with an athletic scholarship, if I remember correct, and she's a mad soccer player. So I'd expect her to survive more than I would. With that, I'd love to move the conversation along to Sandi and Brave Health. I'm just trying to be cautious of time. Thank you so much for sharing with us, Ellie. So Sandi, tell us a little bit about Brave Health and what you guys do. We heard a little bit at the front end. But obviously, you guys have been in business here for a couple of years as well, and have been based here in South Florida. I'd love to hear about what you guys are doing.
Absolutely. And Ellie, what a beautiful segue when you were talking about how we're stepping into a new reality, right? And the challenges that people are dealing with are new and different for different people. So for some of us, we are trying to work from home, grateful to have jobs with kids in the background that we're still trying to homeschool and deal with. Some of us are far away from loved ones and worried about that. Some of us aren't working because the circumstances don't permit. So there are just so many different challenges that are present. And as you said, Joe, Brave Health has been around for a couple of years and has been growing for all that time. And of course, we've seen a tremendous surge in growth recently through this COVID period, because people who were going to get support from a therapist or a psychiatric nurse practitioner, other providers, are now not able to get that support, oftentimes at a time that's even more stressful for them than usual. And we do see some folks who are focusing on their nutrition, they're focusing on their exercise, they're trying to keep that routine in place, but mentally and emotionally, they're still really struggling. And this period of transition, all of these changes can be extremely stressful. And Brave Health is a tremendous answer for that, because essentially what we offer is therapy support, support of meds management for people who need that as well, without any of the barriers to access. So Ellie, you mentioned childcare that is no longer present in your life, right? So the fact that somebody can talk to the therapist maybe from inside their home, or we have patients who their home is very busy right now because the kids are home. And so maybe they are sitting in their car, in their driveway, having a therapy session, feeling connected, getting the support that they need, both in terms of therapy or meds or a combination of both. And that is just, we feel very proud to be able to offer that kind of access at any time, but especially at a time that many of us are feeling highly stressed. Paul, is there anything that you'd like to add there?
I think you covered it in a nutshell. I just kind of wanted to go over a couple of things. Just as far as we are coping with stress, I know that with COVID-19, it is affecting all of us in different ways, and stress affects us in all different ways. So,
Did we lose Paul for a moment? He seems to be frozen.
I think we did. He cut out a minute ago. He cut out earlier as well.
Okay, no worries until he comes back. Oh, sorry, Paul, you cut out for a minute. So do you want to just back up and say what you said?
So, sorry about that, guys.
No
so I was just talking about ways to cope with stress. So, taking breaks from watching, reading, and viewing the news right now is one good way. That can be highly stressful, especially when we're hearing the same thing on repeat every single day. So taking yourself out of that situation is a good way to de-stress. Of course, taking care of your body, nutrition, exercise, these are great ways to keep that positive mental attitude going strong. I know that some of you guys were discussing your children as well, and some behaviors, changes in your children that you need to look out for when it comes to whether or not they may be having some struggles of their own, whether it's excessive crying, returning to behaviors they've outgrown, excessive worry or sadness, unhealthy eating habits, irritability and acting out behaviors as teens, poor school performance, and then difficulty with attention and concentration. These are all things where you can, if you notice this in your children, these are all things to take into consideration that they may be struggling, and it's okay to reach out. The great thing about us is we see ages 13 and up. So if you have a teenager and they're struggling, definitely consider us. Our therapists are board certified. Again, we have LMHCs, LCSWs, we have psychiatrists on staff. So really, we just have everything in place. And I think with all of us here today, just that perfect combination of how to really, grow during this period and just be our best selves, because we're going to have those down days. But overall, if we can concentrate on these little things and just improve over time, we can be really our best selves at the end of the day.
Awesome. And maybe, Sandi, if you could hit on, how does the technology and then the HIPAA compliance work with some of the things you've built, just from a tech curiosity perspective?
Sure. So we have the Zoom version that we use is fully HIPAA certified. And then everything, I would say, almost all of our patients do their correspondence with us via text, except for when they're in that Zoom video session. And Paul was talking about teenagers. This is a wonderful thing for adolescents to have a modality around therapy that is very normal and just part of their lives. To be able to text with their therapist, for example, is extremely helpful. So yeah, we have secure texting, secure email, and then all of our Zoom sessions are secure. So what it really does look like, Joe, is, for example, if you called or texted us today, we would have what we call an access counselor chat with you, just make sure that you are a good fit for what we offer. For example, you do have to have access to technology. You do have to have a phone or a tablet or a computer. And then we get you set up for your first therapy session. You get a text reminder the day before with the Zoom link to click on, and off you go. It is as simple as that. It's an incredibly simple interface that is fully HIPAA compliant.
Awesome. Well, hey, we have about 10 minutes left for our call today. With that, I would love to throw out there any questions that we might have for Dawn on nutrition, for Ellie on fitness, for Sandi on stress and mental wellness. We have a few people here on our call, and then of course we have some folks looking on Facebook. So I'm curious if anyone has any questions.
I do. I had a question just more regarding my kids. So I noticed that the schools, the teachers through the Google Classrooms have been asking these questions, like, because I have a 6th grader and a 2nd grader, but just simple questions of like, how are you feeling today? Those type of things to kind of gauge their stress levels or how they're, how they're currently feeling with, the remote work and all of that. But I know that normally, the teachers are in person in class and they can pick up on some of the things you were talking about, Paul, like those little like red flags. But if they're not in person, obviously they can't do that. And then I'm struggling like with my 2nd grader, where she will get stressed and she can't, but she's still very young, so she can't verbalize a lot of those things. I'm just wondering, what are other ways that maybe for kids that you can ask them about their stress levels or communicate that with them, because obviously if you're remote, you can't see that. And then they don't have the ability to verbalize a lot of that.
Yeah, Nikki, one thing that can be very helpful for younger kids, it's something you can find online. I'm happy to send you a link if that would be helpful, to what we call a feelings poster or feelings guide, with really fun pictures of kids experiencing different feelings through their facial expressions. And it can be helpful for young children to be able to point to a picture of a child who might be feeling the way they are, even though they don't really know all the words to use. Does that make sense? And it can be helpful to These posters will also talk about extent of feelings. So you might just be a little annoyed or irritated, or it might move into frustration or anger or fury, right? And so to help kids to be able to really just point to a picture and say, that's where I'm at right now. And for you to be able to model that as well, because, you know, unless you're a parent unlike any other parent, you're going to have many of those moments yourself. So to be able to pull out the poster and say, this is where I'm at right now. I had a hard day at work, or things are feeling overwhelming and I'm feeling frustrated. That modeling can be super helpful, because you're right. Teachers, I mean, unbelievable call out to teachers. I cannot believe how much work teachers are doing. My 9th grader and 7th grader, I'm just undying gratitude for these incredible teachers. But they are on the other side of a computer and they're not interacting with your child one-on-one. So I think you're absolutely right that you as a parent paying attention to those cues is going to be key. Is that helpful at all?
No, that's great. Yeah. I mean, I guess to kind of put it out there a little bit, just because obviously, you know, my stress level is a little bit higher trying to work from home, having them here, you know, obviously meals and activities, and because they're both cooped up in the house and they normally are both very active playing soccer and whatever, so they can't do a lot of that. And so I've noticed my stress levels higher, and so my lack of patience is lower. So then I have, you know, less patience with them. So I think I have to be careful about how I'm also talking to them and interacting with them, because my daughter being the younger one and not being able to verbalize a lot of that, I'm noticing that her and her brother, who are normally like best friends, are fighting a lot more and they're hitting each other, which they never do. And you know, then she also breaks down crying faster. So I feel like right now it's just like a household of like emotions. So that's been a little bit of a struggle.
Yeah, and that's where I think reaching out and getting support, talking to a therapist who can be more of a parent coach as well, can be super helpful. This is an unnatural situation. We are not used to having our children home 24/7 and to be working while they're here as well. So there's that tussle between having to pay and wanting to pay attention to our work and wanting to pay attention to our kids as well. It can put us into a very overwhelmed place. So I think what I put in the chat before, just about how it's not a sign of weakness at all to reach out and get additional support as a parent, or, you know, as an adult, as a teenager, whatever those things are, it can go a really long way to help things in the home to feel more settled. And then I would remind you to have tremendous compassion for yourself. It's a new and overwhelming situation. And the more you can model compassion for yourself, the more your kids will have compassion for themselves as well. So that role modeling is powerful in this situation.
Awesome. Well, hey, thank you for everybody for joining the call today. And of course, a shout out to Dawn, to Ellie, to Sandi for sharing a little bit about the work that they do here in South Florida to try and make our lives all a little bit better. And for anybody who is interested, if you would like, if you guys could put your emails in the chat there real quick. So then if you'd like to reach out to them on anything that you heard or talked about today, you can go ahead and connect with them there. And if you're watching this on Facebook, please just DM us and we can get you their information. With that, I'd like to, of course, thank Nikki for pulling this whole group together and having this conversation. Yes, and we also do have some really great community coffees upcoming. Nikki, I think is the next one next week is the government one. Yes. Great. I love when I don't have my calendar up and Nikki's here to help me out with that. So next week, we're actually having a town hall with Congressman Ted Deutsch and the SBA District Director for South Florida to talk a little bit about what the government is doing, obviously, throughout all of this time. So that should be a good conversation. I hear they're both fun people to have conversations with, and regardless of the topics. So thank you again for everyone joining us. I wish you all a great, wonderful week, and I look forward to seeing you all again in person at some point too.
So much.
Thank you, everybody.
Great week. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.